Top 10 Dogs with Unusual Jobs. Canines are humankind's closest companions. As soon as people entice wolves into being well disposed with certain pieces of food, human and canine advancement has gone connected at the hip. Today we have reproduced our closest companions into a stunning scope of breeds to suit any positions that we need accomplished for us. From sheepdogs to lapdogs, there is a canine for each work, and a portion of those positions are more odd than you may think. Here are 10 positions you never realized a canine could do. 10. Helping children testify. Is there much else encouraging than a canine believing you enough to let you pet them? At the point when they lay their head on your knee, you realize you have made another companion. It's not simply a warm inclination they can give. Canines have been utilized to enable the overall set of laws to work with their soothing presence. Children who need to affirm in court can discover it preliminary because of the weight put on them by the circumstance. With an appointed authority, attorneys, and the jury all gazing at them, a little youngster can be frightfully threatened. That is the place a canine partner can prove to be useful. Canines have been utilized to help kids testify. A prepared canine can enable a kid to directly from the second they report a wrongdoing to police until they talk in court. When in court, the canine is typically disguised with the observer behind the stand. This lets them comfort the youngster without diverting the jury, as people will regularly give more consideration to a canine than the individual with them. 9. Friar canines and religion are a perfect blend. From Saint Roch, a holy person who was helped by his canine, to Saint Christopher, who was regularly portrayed with a canine's head, to Saint Guinevere, a canine who was made a holy person, humankind's affection for canines has frequently approached love. On a more commonplace level, priests and temples would regularly keep canines to monitor their doors. One religious community in Bolivia has concluded that one canine is such a decent kid that he merits his own uniform. Friar Carmelo is a Schnauzer. Carmelo was captured wearing a small form of the priest's own propensity taken from a mannequin used to entertain youngsters. From that point forward, the canine monk has become an online media deer. His web fans have named him Friar Mustache for his unmistakable facial hair. While the official conviction of Catholics is that creatures can't get into paradise since they need everlasting spirits, their spirits kick the bucket with their bodies. A few popes have left the pearly gates somewhat partially open for our creature companions. Pope Paul VI revealed to one kid whose canine had kicked the bucket that one day, we will see our creatures again in the unfathomable length of time of Christ. Heaven is available to the entirety of God's animals. 8. Truffle hunters. Truffles are one of the most important staples on Earth. In view of their harmonious relationship with trees and their mind-boggling life cycle, it isn't feasible for us to cultivate truffles. In the event that we need their rich flavor in our food, we need to go out chasing for them, yet not with our own restricted noses. Some creatures have substantially more touchy feelings of smell than we do. Pigs are notable for their capacity to snuffle out truffles under the ground, however they likewise tend to eat the truffles they find. Canines are significantly less prone to wolf down the valuable growths. A few canines are prepared to relate the particular smell of truffles with delight only a short time after their birth. In Italy, the Lagotto Romagnolo variety of canine is presently related chiefly with truffle chasing. It used to be a chasing canine, it actually is, just not chasing for creatures. 7. Bulldogs. Getting and recovering balls is one of the most well-known hobbies for our canine amigos. So for what reason do we use young men and young ladies for this errand during tennis matches? That was an inquiry one Brazilian tennis competition chose to reply. A few canines who were taken from the roads of Sao Paulo and spruced up as ball young men and young ladies and let free on the court. The point of the game was not to supplant their human associates, be that as it may. Since the canines were strays, it was trusted that onlookers who saw the canines would need to receive them. In the primary year, each of the 4 ball canines were received. Before long, more wonders were brought in. The strays were not generally the most submissive of court collaborators. They immediately aced getting the balls, however some of the time demonstrated reluctant to restore them to players. Also, they were just utilized during warm-ups, who could focus on a tennis match when there are canines to take a gander at. 6. Art protector. At the point when we consider canines defenders of significant things, we will in general consider growling watch canines stressing against their chains to avoid looters. Riley anyway shields artistic work from more inconspicuous risks. Riley the museum dog works at the Museum of Fine Art in Boston to recognize the numerous vermin that can compromise the protection of artworks. Pests as various as moths and rodents would all be able to decimate craftsmanship in even the best-run historical center. Riley utilizes his nose to track them down before they can make devastation. Riley was acquainted with the gallery at a youthful age to become acclimated to his environmental factors and to prepare him not to harm the craftsmanship himself. Riley has since become a mascot for the historical center and even highlights in his own book, The Adventures of Riley, the Museum Dog. 5. Cancer detector. A canine's nose is extraordinarily delicate. While people have around 6 million receptors for smell, canines can have up to 300 million. Canines additionally give over a lot bigger extent of their cerebrum to deciphering the scents they recognize. It isn't amazing then that canines can track down things that may appear to be outlandish for us to imagine. Some canines are so delicate to changes in smell that they can tell when their proprietors become ill from their scent. Different canines can be prepared to distinguish certain maladies in individuals they have never met. Daisy the canine has been prepared to tell who has malignancy. Having looked at 6,000 examples, she has accurately recognized 550 individuals with disease, including her owner. Daisy continued snuggling and pawing at my chest one day, which truly frightened me, her proprietor said. I got it looked at and was disclosed to I had beginning phase bosom disease. Luckily I had the option to have it eliminated, yet if not for Daisy it would have gone undetected for any longer and might have been more serious. For her work in medical care, Daisy was granted a Blue Cross medal in 2014. 4. Cheetah befriender. The medical advantages of possessing a canine are notable. Just as the activity we get from playing with canines, there are emotional psychological wellness benefits. Forlornness and misery can both be diminished by the consoling organization of a canine, and not simply in humans. Cheetahs are worked for speed and running on the wide fields of Africa. A little walled-in area in a zoo can leave them on edge and discouraged. Continually keeping watch for bigger hunters, they can feel compromised by the swarms of people gazing at them. A canine can make the ideal ally to quiet the cheetah down. Despite the legendary enmity that is said to exist among felines and canines, the two creatures appear to appreciate being in one another's organization. The canines offer a relieving presence and feeling of friendship, while the cheetahs give the canines a close companion. 3. Anti-tank dog. Not all the positions given to canines are ones that go down well via online media. In the midst of war, people frequently enlist their creatures as partners. These creatures can be given something to do as load animals, watches, or even weapons. The anti-tank canines of the Soviets were planned as weapons, and single-utilize ones at that. The plan was to utilize the canines as a method of conveying bombs to the weak underside of adversary tanks. From the start, the canines were prepared to deliver their bombs when they showed up. However, in the disorder of fight, this ended up being a lot for the canines. They regularly got back to their overseers with a live and perilous sway actually tied to their back. Next, the canines were fitted with bombs that exploded when they brushed against the tank. Unfortunately, the Russians utilized their own tanks to prepare the canines. The canines figured they would discover a treat under a tank, thus searched out the ones they were most natural with. When hostile to tank canines were sent in real battle, most were murdered before they arrived at any tanks. Some turned around towards their coaches and must be shot by their own side. Luckily, this is a doggy work that awful young men need to prepare for anymore. 2. Penguin protectors. Intrusive species can totally clear out an animal categories, and human endeavors to stop the spread of such species can frequently blow back deplorably. In one case anyway, the outcomes have been adorable. Centre Island off the south shoreline of Australia is home to a province of the world's littlest types of penguins. However, they have gone under danger from foxes. The fairy penguins are as unimposing and dear as they sound, yet have no regular guard against foxes. Characteristic changes to the coast had permitted foxes to get to the island when the tide was low. At the point when specialists checked the number of inhabitants in penguins on the island after foxes had got to there, they discovered that many penguins had been murdered. In 2 evenings, foxes had butchered 360 of the little birds. It was a neighborhood chicken rancher called Swampy Marsh who thought of an answer. Used to shielding feathered creatures from murder upbeat foxes, he recommended utilizing canines to watch the penguins. In the 10 years that canines have been securing the pixie penguins, there has not been a solitary passing from foxes. 1. Max the Mayor. Indeed, even the most cherished of government officials will have their doubters. You would be hard-pushed anyway to discover any individual who loathes the Mayor of Idlewild, California. He's a canine. Conceived Maximus Mighty Dog Mule II. He has been City Hall leader since he was only 11 weeks old. Mayor Max isn't the main canine to be named chairman of Idlewild. His archetype Max I passed on while in office, and the Momentum Civic chairman was found after a rush quest for a substitution. The main Mayor Max won his situation in a cause occasion against a scope of different pets. Since Idlewild is an unincorporated town, it has no legislature of its own, and Max's position is generally honorary. Max too presently invests his energy spreading satisfaction to his constituents. Wearing a tie, he can regularly be seen on ends of the week visiting the town in the rear of a pickup truck and yelping to his fans. Notwithstanding a death endeavor when another canine went for Max's neck, it appears to be his lifetime arrangement will keep going for quite a while yet.